Zara pressed her clawed fingers against the cold metal wall of the human research facility and felt her confidence waver for the first time in decades. The violet-skinned alien commander had infiltrated countless species across the galaxy, but humans were proving far more complex than her initial calculations suggested. Her mission was simple enough: steal the quantum drive technology that had allowed these primitive mammals to traverse space faster than any known civilization and return to her homeworld with the secrets that would ensure Valkyrian dominance across the stars. Yet 3 weeks of observation had yielded nothing but confusion and grudging respect for creatures she had initially dismissed as barely sentient. The facility buzzed with activity as human researchers moved between laboratories with purposeful energy. Zara watched through her cloaked position as a young woman named Amy directed a team calibrating massive energy arrays. The human female moved with precision that reminded Zara uncomfortably of her own elite warriors back home. What disturbed Zara most was how the humans worked together. Their species lacked the psychic hive mind that connected Valkyrian society, yet somehow they coordinated complex tasks with an efficiency that defied logic. She had expected chaos and competition, but found instead a strange harmony built on trust and communication. Her observations were interrupted when a tall human male approached Amy near the quantum chamber. Zara recognized him as the lead physicist whose name tag read Jake. The way he spoke to Amy with respect and collaboration, rather than the dominance displays common among most species, caught Zara off guard. Jake pointed to readings on his tablet, and Amy nodded before making rapid calculations on a nearby console. Their interaction flowed naturally, as if they shared thoughts without the biological mechanisms that should make such coordination possible. Zara found herself leaning forward despite her better judgment drawn into their discussion about quantum field fluctuations. The breakthrough came when Jake activated a small device that projected a 3-dimensional hologram of swirling energy patterns. Zara gasped as she recognized mathematical principles that her own people had spent millennia developing, displayed casually by these supposedly inferior beings. The equations floating in the air represented concepts her species considered among their most guarded secrets. Amy traced patterns in the hologram with her finger while explaining something to Jake about dimensional barriers. Zara strained to hear every word, as the human woman casually discussed theories that had driven Valkyrian philosophers to madness. The ease with which Amy manipulated such complex ideas made Zara question everything she believed about human intelligence. As days passed, Zara found herself studying Jake specifically rather than focusing on her mission. The human male demonstrated abilities that seemed impossible according to her understanding of his species' limitations. He solved problems with intuitive leaps that bypassed logical progression and showed compassion toward subordinates that would be considered weakness among Valkyrians when equipment failures threatened to delay their research. Jake worked alongside technicians to repair systems with his own hands, rather than simply commanding others. Zara watched him encourage a frustrated intern named Lisa through a difficult calibration procedure with patience that astounded her. The young human woman responded to his guidance by producing work that exceeded what Zara thought possible from such an inexperienced individual. The moment that changed everything occurred during what humans called a coffee break. Zara observed Jake sitting alone in the facility cafeteria, staring out a window at the stars beyond. When Amy joined him, their conversation turned to topics that had nothing to do with their research. They spoke about dreams and fears about the vastness of space and their place within it. Jake mentioned wondering if other intelligent species looked at the same stars and felt similar loneliness. Amy responded that she hoped any beings they eventually encountered would see humans as friends rather than threats. Their words carried genuine emotion that Zara had never encountered in strategic discussions among her own people. Zara realized with growing alarm that she was developing what humans might call fondness for these creatures. Her infiltration had become something else entirely as she found herself invested in their success, rather than focused on her original mission. The quantum drive technology still beckoned, but stealing it now felt like betraying individuals she had come to respect. Her crisis deepened when Jake approached her hiding spot one evening after most researchers had left the facility. Zara froze as he looked directly at her position and spoke softly into the apparent empty space. He said he knew someone was watching and that whoever it was could reveal themselves safely. Amy appeared from another corridor as if his words were a signal, and Zara understood with shock that the humans had been aware of her presence all along. Jake explained that their sensors had detected her cloaking device weeks ago, but they had chosen to let her observe rather than confront her. Amy added that they hoped their hidden observer would see that humans meant no harm to other intelligent species, and might even offer friendship instead of fear. The revelation that she had been discovered yet allowed to continue her surveillance struck Zara more powerfully than any weapon. Her people would have captured or eliminated a spy immediately, but these humans had shown her kindness even while knowing she represented a potential threat. When Jake offered to show her their work openly, rather than forcing her to spy from shadows, Zara felt something she had never experienced before: shame mixed with gratitude for creatures she had planned to betray. The emotional complexity overwhelmed her analytical mind as she struggled to understand beings who responded to possible danger with curiosity rather than aggression. Zara deactivated her cloaking device and stepped into view, causing both humans to smile with what appeared to be genuine pleasure, rather than triumph at capturing an enemy. Jake extended his hand in the human greeting gesture, while Amy expressed excitement about meeting their first confirmed alien visitor. Over the following days, Jake and Amy shared their research freely with Zara, explaining concepts and methods with enthusiasm that reminded her of teachers rather than suspicious guards. They seemed more interested in learning about her species than protecting their own secrets, even when she admitted her original mission: to steal their technology. The Quantum Drive project reached completion during Zara's final week at the facility. She watched Jake and Amy activate their device, knowing she could easily transmit the technical specifications to her homeworld and complete her mission as planned. Yet something had fundamentally changed within her understanding of what success meant. Jake found her standing before the quantum chamber after the successful test and asked quietly if she would return to her people with their technology. Zara met his eyes and saw not accusation, but genuine concern for her well-being. The human male had somehow become more important to her than the glory she would receive for completing her mission. She told him that her people expected her to return with proof of human weakness and technological secrets to exploit. Jake nodded sadly and said he understood the pressure she faced from her own kind. Amy joined them and suggested that Zara might find a different path that honored both her loyalty to her people and the friendship they had built. The solution came from an unexpected source when Zara contacted her homeworld to report her findings. Instead of describing human weaknesses, she transmitted detailed accounts of their strengths, their ability to cooperate across differences, their capacity for innovation through collaboration, and their tendency to respond to potential threats with extended friendship. Her superiors initially dismissed her reports as impossible, but Zara's persistence in describing human capabilities eventually convinced them that these beings might be valuable allies, rather than easy conquest. Jake had shown her that strength could manifest through trust rather than domination, and Amy had demonstrated that intelligence flourished when shared rather than hoarded. The story concluded when Zara accepted a permanent position as cultural liaison between humanity and the Valkyrian Empire. Jake and Amy became her closest friends as they worked together to build understanding between their species. The alien commander, who had arrived seeking to exploit human weakness instead, discovered that their greatest strength lay in their ability to transform enemies into family through simple acts of kindness and respect. Zara often reflected that she had indeed learned the impossible from humans, not their technology, but their capacity to create connection across the vast differences that separated species. Her mission had succeeded beyond her wildest expectations, though in ways she could never have imagined when she first stepped foot on their world.